Hey, whoa, it's right there. Ms. Morgan, we will now call this meeting to order. If you'll please call roll.
Chairman Langley.
Here.
Here.
Barrett.
Here.
Ms. Davis. And Ms. Carter. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have the minutes, Lisa, in our packets here, or they were just emailed to us, right? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the October and November meeting as presented?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and the minutes from October and November have been approved. We do have one account of old business and one of new business today, and we're going to, Mr. Duke, would it be okay if we see the new business first, as it seems to be a little more simplified than the old business, and that way we can kind of move in one and move out the other. New business, certificate of appropriateness for a sign replacement at 151/153 West Main Street, Walthall Enterprises, the petitioner. Are you here with them? If you want to come on up and sign in with Ms. Morgan, and then you can kind of give us a little bit of an idea verbally of what you're wanting to do.
What happened to mine?
And I would like to remind our commissioners to turn your cell phones off. There you go. Any of you out in the audience that need to turn your cell phone off too, please?
I'm representing my employer, who is petitioning to have the sign. Our business is Quality Comics, and we've established a location in that area, and we'd like the sign for our business, essentially.
If you want to have a seat, and we'll get Mr. Duke to come forward, and he can give us a staff report.
Ma'am, you have a request, as you stated, for a certificate at 151-153 West Main Street. That is two separate facades, two separate addresses, but that building has been treated as one building for a while, with the wall opened up between them, interior wall opened up between them. You have a request for signage to be added to the exterior of the building. Window signs were listed in the application, but those are generally not have been dealt with, especially if they are removable, if they're just basically signage that can be taken in and out of the display window. So what we're looking at are the two hanging signs that are proposed. One is a 36 by 48 inch sign hanging from an existing bracket, and the other is a 36-inch round sign which would be hanging from the existing bracket. And I'm sorry, there should be photographs. Let me. I apologize. We were missing some photographs that should be in your packet, but there are existing brackets that exist on the front of these buildings. They've had signs hanging there before, either for business that was there, 3D Dogs, or I can't remember what the other business that was there, but they have had similar type signs, and this request is in proportion with those brackets, and certainly in proportion and in keeping with your guidelines for exterior signage. What's being passed around is, I think, that the color that's proposed for the background, and this would be a two-color sign. According to the applicant, this would be gray background with either black or blue copy on the sign. So what you have is mock-up that would show essentially you would have what's shown in black would be either that blue or black, and then the gray would be basically where your white is on this mock-up on both sides.
And the signs, you do recommend, you said approval, and they are not externally lit at all, correct?
No, they're not.
Okay.
No illumination proposed at all.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Duke in regards to these? Okay, go ahead.
Are these like free hanging? Will they swing, or are they attached?
No, they'll
to
be basically there is what we call a projecting sign. This is on a bracket. The bracket's already hanging on a wall. They've been used in the past, so this is a projecting sign similar to what Kim Box has or George Walthall have for their signage.
Any other questions? Are there any questions for the petitioner at this time?
And it would be aluminum, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no further questions, is there a motion to be made?
I move we grant a certificate of appropriateness for the sign replacement on 151 and 153 West Main Street, Walthall Enterprises.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and the certificate has been approved. Thank you for coming. Okay. Okay, our old business that we are, Joel, do we need to bring this back up in a form of a motion? I don't.
Yes, I believe it was actually tabled.
Okay.
It does need a motion to come back with.
Okay. Is there a motion at this time that we bring back to the table the certificate of appropriateness request from Jules Moffitt, petitioner? Is there a motion at this time?
I make a motion that we take off the table the request for a certificate of appropriateness by Jules Moffitt.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and we will discuss that again today. Again, just as a reminder, a certificate of appropriateness for Patsy's Pins and Needles. And Mr. Moffitt, if you would like to come up, and I know that we had met with you earlier, and unfortunately, we have not been made aware of any changes or anything other than what you presented last time. So if you would like to talk to us a little bit about that, we'll be happy to hear you.
Well,
Pardon me. I have a hearing problem, and that's why I was getting close. It seems like if we have a full patio or porch back there, we infringe on city property easement. And I donated the property, but now I'm not allowed to get back on it. And I'm assuming that the walk is the end of the easement. And this guy drew the is that true? On the easement through there?
the easement actually comes to the back of your building.
The back of my building, or
Yes,
the back of the air conditioner?
Well, it actually comes to the back of all the buildings that along that strip.
Okay, so to prevent interfering with the easement and getting right-of-ways through there, he asked me to draw another set of plans, and I have another copy here that I think will meet the requirements. And I have to apologize. I had the two other plans or drawings, and they've disappeared for some reason out of my truck. And but I have these. I think it'll meet it, and I can explain you the difference if you'd like to see them.
Okay, hold on one moment, Mr. Moffett. Mr. Duke, if you would just come up for 1 second. I am not sure. I don't remember the exacts of the last meeting, but was this something that we were not even going to really need to look at until some type of different zoning? Does that...
Speaking to the mic because it's being recorded, so I need to ask you to step aside a second, that's all. Ms. Langley, what was brought up at the last meeting was a request at, I believe this is 161 West Main Street. And what was presented in application was Mr. Moffitt's desire to enclose, to change out the partially built room on the back of that structure. And Mr. Moffett brought an alternative plan to the meeting that included
Today.
a deck, no, at the previous meeting,
okay.
a deck that covered the adjacent building, which he also owns, as well as what was in the application.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked that there be something worked out as far as the city easement before it was brought back up.
So there's a possibility that what he's presenting now, he has went back and made that adjustment then.
Right. So
Okay.
Originally the application that you heard and was advertised and was what you were hearing at the last meeting was dealing with, and I'm sorry, I'm probably getting the address wrong, 61, is that accurate? Thank you.
161, 160.
Thank you. 161, which is currently occupied by Patsy's Pins and Needles. That was what was brought before you by application, and it looks to me like, just looking at Mr. Moffitt's plan here, he's gone back to just that back room or that partial room, and that's what he's asking you to consider. So
Okay.
just by looking at the plan he's got here.
Okay.
So.
I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't doing something that we needed to go back and do first with another board and kind of wasting his time, so to speak. So anyway, go ahead, Mr. Moffett. I apologize. Yes, sir. We would love to see it. Thank you.
The air conditioner and wouldn't have to move it. You see the air conditioner in that picture right there.
So the air conditioner is now going to be under?
Yes, it would be under the, there's no place to put the air conditioner except, it won't go under that porch, but it'll go under those steps.
Then you'll have like an access panel?
Yeah,
so
it'd
people
just be a
will
small,
service it?
just a small place. In other words, the steps would be over here going up, and I don't know why that drawing's missing. I'm not happy about it, but
Is the air conditioning unit on the city easement?
That's a good question. I signed an fire department asked me to tear it down because it was cracking, and I did. And we converted it. That's as far as we got right there.
Okay. So are you having to move the air conditioner?
I would have if we follow this drawing, but if I use the other drawing, the little porch extends out over the air conditioner. It'll save a lot of trouble. But it'll look about 100 times better than what we have down there now. And I'd like to throw this in. I was the first person to decorate the front of the building when they had the meeting over at the church, and my building was used as an example, and that's the way we painted it right in the beginning. But nobody has done anything to improve the back of this place. And I'm trying to, but I'm having a little tough luck here.
Now, and the roof line, none of that would change?
Nothing changes. It was a flat roof, and when we took the blocks out, it wouldn't hold the roof up, so we had to put the post in there. We got steel post in there now, and this would be enclosing those posts, and I want to use rough cut lumber and make it natural colored or similar to this building next to Targa Homes Supply up there.
Okay.
As long as in the original footprint.
It's all on the original footprint, yeah.
So these stairs aren't going to be.
I would like for this little stoop to extend over the air conditioner and then make a 90-degree turn for the steps, strictly for convenience. Because these steps cut into the main support beam, and I had another drawing to show that, and it's disappeared. But either way, it's an improvement over what we got.
Okay. Why don't you take this and let us talk to Mr. Duke for just a moment.
All right.
Show it to Joe.
Yeah. Mr. Duke.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think as a commission, we are just a little confused about things.
Okay. Go ahead. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Well, why don't you just go ahead first?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll try to address some of the questions I heard in your discussion with Mr. Moffitt. Just with the question about steps and whether or not they are allowed in the easement, they are. There's a doorway that was there previously. Access was provided. There are steps that extend from other buildings down into the easement. Those are all allowed. So a landing, as Mr. Moffitt proposes, and steps coming down basically at a 90 or next to the building, that would be appropriate. Certainly what he's proposing as an alternative with the steps cut into the floor, that would be fine as well. But either of those will work in regards to the easement. So if that's what we're discussing, then that issue is eliminated, and we're really back to just a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay, I know in previous requests, we like to see, some of the materials, have just a little more detail about that kind of thing. Would it be a possibility if we are talking about calling a special meeting for the WOMAX that possibly they could go back and pull some of this together and then bring it up at that meeting?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that would be fine. I'll go ahead and point out that materials-wise or examples, Mr. Moffitt had provided that in his in his original application, and provided pictures that show. He referenced Odell Construction's building there on East Main Street, and I believe these are pictures in the original application that show the railing and the
So both the railing
the
and
balusters and the
okay.
really
Okay.
looking at just unpainted.
Okay, well, that
timber
probably
construction.
answers what I wanted to know
If you are,
in more detail about that.
but to answer your question directly, if the board is looking for an opportunity, you're going to have it soon if you're looking at a special meeting, and to ask Mr. Moffitt to come back.
Okay.
But what we would require is something submitted. If he has an actual drawing, we would need that for the record. But
Well, and still, even today, we're talking about possibly steps that inlay into the porch or steps that are built out over the air conditioner. So he's still a little undetermined about that, is what I have gathered too. So, right, but we don't want to approve it until we know exactly what he. I mean, I think that's the wishes of the board. Usually, we don't want to approve it until we know exactly what's going there in the first place. Thoughts? Any questions for Mr. Duke?
What if we were to approve it as is, and if he wants to change it later, then that can be another issue. I think essentially all the issues that we had requested, like description of the easement, that's not really necessary here since he's on the same footprint, and anything you want to put out there, the landing is appropriate out there as well, but if he's got it cut in, it's also appropriate. So what he has proposed in that drawing, if that can be included in the record, then I wouldn't have a problem with it.
As far as the requirements that your office has to have, has he met those?
yes, ma'am, I mean, we're going to, the railing will have to be a certain height, basically 36 inches.
Yeah, we don't.
And certain spacing between the balusters, so that there's not a problem there. That'll all have to be worked out, but that's just a simple code requirement, and all of those will be in keeping with this general layout that he's provided.
Okay.
And will he have to show you the drawings, the complete drawings before they start?
Yes, sir. What we would request, if you were to consider approving this today, we would ask that it be contingent upon
Okay.
a full set of plans being submitted as a supplement to his application. Okay, and we would have that in hand and to be a part of the record. At this point, we don't have that copy,
All right.
but I'm sure Mr. Moffitt can provide that.
Maybe you can find the one that was taken, someone, whoever took it.
All right, I just want to clarify that I understood correctly. The drawings that he does not have are ones that show the landing coming out over the air conditioner and then down, steps down.
Yes.
Okay, which would certainly be nice to cover up the air conditioner.
I think it would work best for him. It seems to be something he would like to do, and that's not a real issue.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. Duke or Mr. Moffitt at this time? Is there a motion to be made? How would you like to handle this?
I would make a motion that we grant a certificate of appropriateness for this property, contingent upon Mr. Moffitt producing a set of full plans for the planning department.
Second.
Okay, if there's a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and that is approved. You've got it, Mr. Moffitt. You just need to deal with Mr. Duke. Once you get your make your final decision, you can work with Mr. Duke from this point on. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, normally, yes, sir, at least a picture of it, and I had forgotten that you had included that last time. So all I had to do was just flip a few pages further, and I did see that. So we're good on that. Thank you. And thank you all for coming today. Sorry you had to make it twice. Is there any other thing that we need to discuss here today before we move into our work session? Okay.
Do we need to bring up, you said something about a special meeting, are we supposed to bring that up?
Oh, yes. Joel, do we, or do I just need to do that?
Either way, you can discuss it now, or you could do that as the chair. You might want to mention the reasons for it, that you've had a request.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be glad to.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just since you have talked with them.
At 132 North Northington Street, I provide some photographs for the chair. There's a request that's been turned in. The application was turned in yesterday to remove the chimney from the structure. The chimney apparently is in disrepair, and the owner is looking to remove that and ask for a special meeting because they are experiencing pretty significant leaks around the chimney. So really not saying anything about the appropriateness of that. I'm just telling you that they've asked for a special meeting. We need a minimum of about 6 days to advertise per your notice requirements, and we could not accommodate that before this meeting. So that's certainly be your next scheduled meeting is the last day of February the 28th. That's the actual fourth Thursday of the month. So.
Okay. I did tell Mr. Duke that we would be happy to oblige that and to try to work in a special meeting for this purpose. And so we can go ahead and discuss that now in an open meeting. Well, it doesn't matter. They need 6 days, 6 business days to work off of. So.
How long does it have to be posted, the sign posted? Is that 6 days as well?
So a total of 10. Okay. So that puts us, roughly around February the 5th. What's open at that time? Maybe for the 7th?
The 7th in late afternoon will work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about you all? The 7th, possibly?
February 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a short meeting.
Yeah. Mr. Duke, is there an opening where we can meet on the 7th?
As far as I know at this point, this room is open on
Okay.
the 7th. We have a council meeting that week on the 5th, but other than that, I think we're in good shape.
Okay. Well, it looks like we all can meet, at least at this point, on the 7th. So we can go with that then, the 7th at 4:30 in the council chambers.
We will send out the appropriate notice at the special
Okay.
meeting and notify the applicant,
Okay.
Womax.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else at this time? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, and we are done. Thank you.